You're listening to a podcast by Last Minute Crack with your host, me, Christina Hamilton. Last Minute Crack is your one-stop shop for all things arts and culture in Dublin City. For more information, check out our website at lastminutecrack.com or visit us on Instagram at lastminutecrack. A special thank you to Thibaut Kemere for his help with the sound and for the music on this intro. Another thank you goes out to Zoe Spillane for her help managing the page. And now for your episode. Hello, my gorgeous, gorgeous listeners and viewers. Hi, my name is Christina and you're listening to Last Minute Chats. And today I have a gorgeous, gorgeous guest. Sasha Shame, how are you?
Hi, hello. I'm good. How are you?
Cold.
Yeah.
It is. It's 0 degrees, if even, at the moment.
It has to be less. It is so cold outside.
And I'm sending my love to everyone out there
Yeah,
in this cold time. Speaking of everyone out there, for people who might not know who you are, do you want to just say hello and give us a bit of background about yourself?
Absolutely. Hello, world. I'm Constance Henry, but in drag, my name is Sasha Shame. For all intents and purposes, that's who I am here. I am a trans woman, a drag queen, a comedian, writer, actor, director, and UCD alum. I graduated recently.
Congratulations.
So, thank you very much. It was nice to get the piece of paper finally.
Yeah, you deserve that.
Yeah.
You deserve that.
After years of suffering with the arts block.
Stop. Don't even get me started. Yeah. So with your accolade or with your list of talents, which of those came first?
That's such a good question. I guess acting, if you count primary school shows, we did pantos in school, and I think that's I played the locksmith in a show when we were in 6th class. I had 2 lines. It was my first time having a speaking role. No, that's not true. I tell a lie. I was the Wizard of Oz when I was 9.
You were behind the curtain?
Yes, I was behind the curtain, and then my teacher drew a little mustache on me.
Cute.
And I wore a little hat. And now I'm a woman, and I don't think those things are related, but it's nice to think that they could be.
Yeah.
I guess in terms of serious work, I started drag when I was in school. When I was in school. And then I didn't really start acting until a few months to a year later. So I guess drag, really.
Yeah. And how does... When you say I started drag in school, what does that look like?
Sure, yeah. It's kind of it's a little bit of a everyone's talking about Jamie situation. Basically, I did. I know a lot of people are going to hate me for saying this, but I did my leaving cert during COVID. So I was
youthful.
Yeah.
Full of youth.
Oh God, I don't feel it. But I did my leaving cert in 2021. So I did have exams, unlike the year before us. And because of lockdowns and everything, our school is very #progressive. So they did a Pride Week in May, right at the end of term. And for that year, they didn't look like they were planning anything. It's always the student council that planned it. And I didn't see that there was going to be anything planned. I knew people who were on it because they were friends with my sister. And they were all saying oh, we're kind of thinking of doing this or that. And I was like, okay, little underwhelming, little unfortunate. I kind of wanted to leave school on a bang. And then also it'd be nice to do something for it. And for Pride Week for the school. And I'd been thinking about doing drag for a little bit. I'd kind of done drag for Halloween, but I don't really count that because that was just dressing
Halloween,
up as a character.
yeah.
I was Cruella DeVille when I was 15, and then I did Marilyn the year after, but I don't count those as doing drag necessarily. But then I emailed my principal and I basically asked hey, could I do a drag show? And he was like, absolutely. I have CC'd Veda Lady because she's an alum of our school. She went to my secondary school I don't know how long ago, but she is an alum of Malahide Community School. And so I got in contact with her. I talked to her and my principal, our amazing gay principal, and the 4 different vice principals we had because our school was that big. We planned a show. So on Tuesday, the 10th of May, 2021, I did my first drag show.
It's beautiful.
It was great. It was so fun. We had we had the classes split. So we did it during religion. So because our school was streamed and then split into 2 streams, we had 6-1, 6-2, 6-3, and 6-4 were in one block, and they had religion during like second class of the day, and then 6-5, 6-6, and 6-7 had theirs in the third class of the day. And so for the first religion class, I performed first 6-1 and 6-2, and then 6-3 and 6-4 watched from their religion classes over a Zoom, which was crazy in hindsight. There was just a laptop sitting on the side of the stage that I would occasionally remember to look at. And then 6-5 and 6-6 were in the room for the second block, and 6-7 were watching from their room. And none of them have told me what it properly was like, because they were just like, oh, everyone was like, oh my God, that was amazing. They were all really supportive. It was really nice.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of lads come up to me and say, oh, I could never have the balls to do that. And I remember throwing it back at a lot of them, like, why not? Why couldn't you? Like, I know you mean this as a compliment, but like, you could do that. Anyone can do that. It's not hard. It is. When you do it well, it is. But like, what I was doing was like, I had a couple of nails, a wig that Veda gave me. She put me in makeup, which like, you can just put yourself in makeup and just get up. Like, I've seen a bunch of queens who don't really know how to do their makeup, and they're still up on stage and they do quite well, and people still clap. It's still fun.
Yeah.
Like, anyone can do it. It's just the commitment to doing it. I think.
Well, there's 2 kind of hurdles there. It is obviously, to some extent, for some people, the toxic masculinity.
Yes.
But also, performing is hard. Performing anything, getting up in front of an audience is really, really difficult. So it's kind of a twofer that's quite limiting, I'd say, to a lot of people. Yeah,
absolutely. Like, it is... it's a lot, and I think I'm lucky that I've always enjoyed performing. I played the violin for a very long time, and so at that point... I'd been playing for like 12 years, I guess. And so I was very used to getting up in front of people, because my violin teacher was always very big on recitals, on making us perform in front of people, because like, sorry, I'm talking very fast.
Yeah, you're doing good.
He was always big on like getting people up in front of each other as like it's all well and good to learn an instrument, but if you can't share it, if you're not doing it in front of other people, if you're not actually using that gift, which, learning an instrument, the purpose is to perform, then, what's the point? And he was absolutely right. And it's what I've taken with everything I do now, is like, as a performer, like, if I'm going to do something, I want to perform. I have never been big on like the bedroom queen stuff. Like you start drag in your bedroom, and everyone does. So I do have a little bit of it, and you can see my early stuff is all like my bedroom in the background. I didn't even bother to edit around it like some people do, which I think is crazy. But like, I would just use my like bedside lamp and the light like hanging from the ceiling to like create some sort of fun dimension or something. Or my sister, her bedroom was in the attic in the old house, and there was these lights set into the wall up the stairs, and I would use those sometimes because it gave you kind of a fun like side lighting. But like, beyond that, I didn't have a whole lot. And even then, I didn't get in drag that much at home. And I basically won't, like, I don't just get in drag to take pictures. Like, if I'm getting in drag, I'm performing. Be it to do an open mic or poetry, to do stand-up, to do sketch, or to get up and lip sync like most of us do. I feel like if I'm going to go to the effort of it, I want to be in front of people. I want to be around people at the very least. But I don't like getting into drag and not getting paid, because it's a lot of work, and then the risks associated with going to a club in drag. I'm like, why would I put myself through that?
Yeah, people are fucking crazy.
People are crazy. Yeah, it's wild.
It's mean. And we'll get into that maybe in a minute. But so I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, from drag you started to kind of explore different mediums, and I feel to an extent you are still exploring that. Like, I remember meeting you for the first time at a comedy show, and you were doing that. So like, how did drag bring you to, like, did you just want more from it, or how did that journey start?
Pretty much. I wanted more. It started with me getting involved with the Drama Society in UCD, which I'm still a member of. You can come see when this comes out, the panto will be over, but I am in the Dramsoc panto next week. But this will be out before King Lear, which I'm also doing in January. It's going to be a really good show. The vision is fantastic. But I kind of threw myself into that in first year of college, and I've stayed a member since. I have my year of grace currently, so I'm allowed to get involved in society stuff without having to be in classes and all that nonsense. But wide sidetrack, I got involved in theatre. I did a lot of theatre stuff there. I was doing a bit of acting, a little bit of directing, some crew stuff, mostly costumes and makeup. And it kind of showed me, like, I can do drag on stage without lip syncing. You can kind of you figure that out yourself anyway, but like actually seeing it happen, actually seeing the possibility of that, and particularly doing shows like a panto where drag is a big element for all the characters, even like not just the dame, that kind of everybody is a little bit in drag. Like to see stand up, to see our good friend Goblins, to see Niall doing stand up and improv in drag. I was like, oh well, I would love to do that. And I have written a lot of poetry. I've had a lot of my poetry published by small Dublin groups, so different magazines and stuff. A lot of stuff in college, and then outside of that as well. And so I was kind of like, okay, I like writing. I enjoy doing that. I like being funny. I like writing funny in my work, and it was a big thing for my poetry that I always wanted to make people laugh, no matter what I was talking about. And then when I got to, really getting to know Niall and getting to like see more of his stuff and really like following him along, I was worried for a while, like last year, that he would think I was a stalker or something, because I was at like everything he did, just because I adore his work. I think he's amazing. He's also a wonderful person and a great friend and a very good person on a night out. He goes hard and he makes sure that everyone is taken care of. But he then said like, oh, we should do I want to write a show about Annie Query's getting robbed. And so last August we decided...
Can I pause? You can't just, out of nowhere. You can't just be like randomly, I just want to do that. Where the hell did that idea come from? You can't just be like, one day you wake up, Annie Query's got robbed, I'm going to make a show about it.
Niall kind of did. No, to be fair, you are right. So for those that don't know, somehow at this point, I feel like we've beaten that horse into the ground. But Annie Query's, the wonderful drag queen Annie Query's. Hello, Annie, if you're watching.
Also on a podcast, Doomslayers. Shout out Doomslayers pod.
Oh my God, absolutely. Shout out Doomslayers. Layla, Donna, and Annie. I saw their live show in Workman's last month. The month before, maybe.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. They're so good. Listen to their podcast. They did a short fiction series set in the 50s, kind of alien sci-fi stuff, for the end of their first season, and it was amazing. First or second season, I'm actually not sure, but it was amazing. It was amazing anyway. And yes, so Annie got robbed at Electric Picnic 2023, and all her makeup got stolen, and it was a big thing for the drag world because everyone there was pointing fingers, was casting suspicions. I wasn't there because I don't like festivals. I hate to be in a field. I like the outdoors if I'm in a city, and that's about all I can do. I'm kind of the extreme stereotype of a city girl. I cannot do mud and grass,
it's important to know that about yourself.
Set
a boundary, and the boundary is
fields.
The city limit.
I have the city, but I have the Pale, and that's kind of all I can do. Or maybe Ayr Square. And I can't do Cork for unrelated reasons. But I was talking to people about it afterwards, and Niall, who was there, encountered all the drama, all the gossip, all the talk, and particularly all the theories that people had, which was very important for us writing characters that we had archetypes to go off of. And then when we saw each other at Fringe, so there was the Fringe after party at the end of September last year, and Niall had been talking to a friend of his when I think they got high. I think that's what it was. I think him and his friend got high, and the friend was like, "Oh my god, you should write it. Like, someone should write a show. I don't know if they said I would like to write a show, or someone should write a show, or you should write a show about Annie getting robbed, or something about it, like doing something like related to it." And so now I was like, "That's a really good idea." And then we were talking while we were really drunk at the after party for Fringe, and he goes, "Oh, like I'd love to write a show about Annie getting robbed." And I grabbed him by the shoulders and I went, "We have to do it." The sort of cut off for deadlines when it comes to Seen and Heard and Fringe, the two kind of big festivals that happen in Dublin. Well, obviously there's Dublin Theatre Festival and there's a few others,
but like not work in progress, but like amateur.
No, amateur work in progress would be like Seen and Heard is strictly, it's never been done before, it's never been seen before, and then Fringe is its Dublin debut. So even if it's been like there was a show done by the fabulous comedian Becky Cheadle. She did a show Starfighter. She did Starfighter in Edinburgh in August this year, and then the next month did it for Dublin. It's like, yeah, she did it for a month in Edinburgh, but this is her Dublin debut of the show. If she tried to bring it to Seen and Heard next year, they'd say, absolutely the fuck not. You've done this so many places before. But yeah, so the cutoff from Fringe After Party to Seen and Heard last year was a week. There was a week between the end of Fringe and the closing of apps for Seen and Heard where we just panicked and we wrote an app in 3 days. Not the 3 days immediately after. We woke up hungover on Monday, said we need to do this, and then Wednesday we started writing the app.
Had you told Annie at this point?
Yes.
Okay.
So that was, I think that's actually why it took us until Wednesday. Was Niall texted her on Monday, and by Tuesday night she had confirmed that she was okay with it.
Okay. I thought it would be funny if you just went straight in.
We nearly did. I think I was considering, because I remember sitting at my desk and like I'm in an office, no, my fucking desk in my bedroom, talking to Niall, like sitting on the phone, and I was like, could we submit it and wait for an answer and just hope she says yes?
Forgiveness,
and if
not
she
permission.
says no, then maybe a little bit that, but also maybe we just drop it at that point. But hey, 50-50 chance we get to do it anyway. And then I was like, no, that's kind of, I would feel bad if we did that. And our producer Dan was like, don't do that. That's a dumb idea. Do not do that. So we waited, and it was worth the wait because she was very enthusiastic. She's been amazing throughout. She did a bunch of bits for promo for us, and then also like being in the show in video. Both times she came to see the show, both for Seen and Heard, and then when she came to see it on the Thursday night for Fringe, she was amazing. She got involved. She came down and did a bow. She was so humble about it, even though she's literally the entire reason the show exists, in so many different ways. Excuse me. But she was just amazing. And when Niall came to me with the idea, I was just insistent we had to do it. I'd wanted to work with Niall for a while. I was so interested in putting on a show about something happening in Dublin, like doing a sort of based on a true story type thing for drag. Like talking about the way drag queens talk about each other. Like the only sincere part of the show is looking at how people place blame and how blame and responsibility get thrown about and how rumors and gossip spread so easily, and specifically for Irish drag queens and Irish drag artists generally, how we interact with each other. And that's really what we wanted to show in the show itself. And I think we were pretty successful. Like it's a funny show, if I do say so myself. It's a very fun show, and it's about the characters more than it is about any real plot. Like you saw it. It kind of all over the place.
It's incredible.
It's just, thank you. It's really just about these people. And even our wonderful narrator, the auxiliary player played by the fabulous Emily Bradley, who jumps in and out of scenes as different characters, and our Dragatha Christie narrator throughout, is, more important is their character than the plot or what they're describing, what's going on around them, because they're all kind of creating what happens. They're changing the scenes, which is like, a really obvious point to make about characters, but it just felt really good to put on a show that was a so heavily driven by strong characters. And I have to credit so much of that to Niall. He's an amazing character writer. He has so many incredible ideas, and he can just sit down on a laptop and just bash stuff out. Just anytime we would sit to write, he would just throw stuff down. I would go in, I'd cut around and edit and work a lot with little spelling mistakes and stuff, because he will just bash stuff out. But it's incredible, and it was a really good dynamic to have with another person, where I wasn't so confident with my writing. I wasn't so sure of being funny, and he helped me to just kind of to figure out what worked. And it was a really nice sort of path to where I am now, doing some more of my own stuff. And back to what your actual question was, doing comedy. I started doing comedy. I did comedy for DCU Drag Race, run by the DCU LGBTA Society in Glasnevin, in 2023, that March. And they were fantastic. It was so much fun, and I did comedy for that. There's the kind of the runway lip sync sort of category, talent, and then final lip sync. And for the talent, I did a little sketch stand-up routine of getting the auditor of the LGBT society up on stage and reading her tarot. I had pearls, big golden sparkly like robe, turban, big jewel, little sunglasses, and it was so much fun, and it went down really well, and I didn't think it would, but it went down really, really well. Everyone was really, really happy with it. I remember specifically one of my cousins on a family holiday for my uncle's wedding being like, Connie, it was so funny. It was so funny. And like, she was surprised, which like felt really good, because like I haven't gotten to show being a very funny person to family, and like I feel like I'm just hyping myself up, but like it is like it's cool when you notice. I don't know if you've felt the same, like you notice that you are actually funny and that other people are noticing that you're funny. And then we started auditions, we started rehearsals, and I was talking to Emily in Panty Bar. It was myself, Niall, Emily, and Joanne, my lovely sister, drag sister, not biological, although we are attached at the hip. She's under the table here. But
keep it down.
Quiet. Don't let them see you in frame. Get down. She's chewing at our shoes. She loves the leathery taste. Hi, Joanne, I love you.
Great to have you on the show, Joanne.
But where was I? Yes, so I was talking to Emily, and I was like, oh, like I know you do comedy. I'd love to start doing like stand up or something, because I've done a bit of it. Like that was my only experience, was that one show that went really well, and that I got the ego to do more of it. And so several months later I asked her, and they were like, oh, I have a spot to fill in tomorrow. Can you do tomorrow? And I was like, Sunday night? Yeah, fuck it. Why not? So I went into the International Bar, downstairs in the International, and I performed to a crowd of people who had probably never seen a drag queen before. It was very weird. There was a crowd of very drunk older people who were not heckling, but not heckling.
Yeah, they were judging.
Yes,
energy. Like
there was this one guy who kept going, "Go on, Sasha," and I was like, "Yeah, that's my name. What's happening?" And then they left, and I was like, "Oh, that's so crazy." And it was really bizarre, and very weird experience. Got kind of shaken by it, but I remember coming off stage and my dad going, the only thing, and he's always got criticism, and that's, I love my dad, but he is the first person to tell you if he feels something is wrong, can be changed, which I actually appreciate at times. I think sometimes he could wait a little longer to tell me, but I think I also have that instinct. I'm really like I'm a pretty good critic, I think, and I know, as in I know what I like and I don't like, and I know how to articulate that very clearly. Like I can get frustrated if I'm like, I didn't enjoy that and I don't know why, and so I will find the way to break down to granular detail what I did or did not like about a piece. It makes me kind of a notorious meanie when it comes to my friends when we go to see shows, that they know I will have something to say. But I'm very passionate about my work, and I'm passionate about theatre and drag, and so I have very strong feelings about, you know, how people do things, and I know how to articulate it. But my dad, it would be very similar. He knows how to say things. And I remember the only bit of criticism he gave me after the International was, trust yourself, because the stuff is funny and you need to trust the audience to laugh at it. I was like, oh yeah, that like that's kind of the highest compliment he could give me, is that like the stuff is actually funny. I just need to trust it more. Because I think I was doing a little bit of like apologizing or like for being on stage and like kind of thanking people for laughing at a joke once or twice, because I was like, I don't feel like this is my audience. So anyone can be your audience if you're funny, which is a very, you know, it is difficult, and there's very much better crowds for a drag queen doing stand-up than others. But yeah, then I started doing Queer Note with Emily in April, I think. And yeah, we would have met at the May one then. And it was fantastic. It was so much fun. It was so much fun to get to see you like hosting with Emily, because you're such a funny duo.
Oh, thank you.
I think Emily really knows how to bounce off basically anyone, but there are definitely people she gels with better, and you are absolutely one of them that just can click into a scene and just flow with it. Did we meet at the International?
We did briefly.
I was like blinders up. I was so tunnel visioned. Yes, we did. We actually
and then we met at that.
And I remember I was like, oh yeah, we've met before, but it feels like we're meeting properly now because I'm doing a better job and I'm more sure of what I'm doing. Yeah, no, that's mad. Yeah, it was a very weird night, but
it's interesting, right? Because you know, I think you need those moments.
Yes,
as an artist and as a person in comedy, like you have to bomb. You just have to do
absolutely.
it. I can't believe that. I'm not believing you. I think you've got it wrong. He's given us our 5-minute warning. I can't believe it. That we're going to Boko after. Anyways, it's fine. You have to have those moments, and it is exactly that, right? Where, especially for you, right? It's one thing having comedy that you're not feeling confident with, and then there's comedy, and then there's people's biases, and there's fucking crazy people, and then there's like, you know, and then there's jokes for the community, and there's jokes that are not, you know what I mean? But obviously, at the time, it was a very general comedy act, right?
Yeah,
so it was like a balance of like an incredibly weird group of people, but also potentially that. But like how much you've grown since then has been so important for me to watch.
Thank you.
First of all, I've been holding myself back because I don't like to interrupt, and I like you're one of the wonderful guests where I don't even have to ask questions. You're just telling me stuff. First of all, Any Queries was successful. You had a standing ovation.
Yes.
And you had busted your knee.
Yeah.
And you still pulled out an incredible. You still managed to perform from the audience.
Yeah. Oh, you saw that night. Yes.
So first of all, there's that. Second of all, what I love to hear is that like through your drag and through that, it feels like you're finding your rhythm. You're finding your the thing that makes you happy. And that's je ne sais quoi. But you know, the thing that your passion, you're finding your passion as you go, and it's comedy, but it's also theater. And what I'm loving to see around you is the community that you've kind of built, having Niall, having Joanne, and having Emily. Those are three incredible people. Like, I'm sure there's more people in your life,
of course,
but like
three big ones.
Niall, I think, through their chaos, allows people to be weird. And absolutely. I don't think there's a lot of people out there that like let you kind of get your freak on.
Yeah.
Like they do.
No, absolutely. Like Niall is unbelievably good at just opening a door for people. Hit the mic there. But I like anytime I see him on a lineup, I know everyone else is going to be more at ease because they know how fucking crazy he is.
We're like, okay, well, yeah.
He'll get up as a fairy from Legend of Zelda, and everyone else will riff on that after and in the sets after. Even the people coming on before feel more comfortable to get a little weird with their routine, to get a little more out there with what they're doing or saying. And it's also great to see him on so many lineups that comedians take him seriously. I think it's good for people like me, just from personal experience. I know I definitely felt this, and I really hope other people do, that you see someone like Niall on a lineup who's not just a beautiful drag queen in a wet lace front. He's crazy. He wears paper wigs and loves a hair clip. He loves hairpins. If you couldn't tell from the costume design, everyone has something in their hair. And it always comes out incredibly. It does so well, and he's such a sensation as a comedian. He's a really a tour de force as a comedian, and I'm just fanning.
I'm cutting you off.
Yeah.
Gobbles had their own podcast.
Yeah,
this is not about them.
know.
This is about
I
you.
just love Niall so much.
This is your moment. But anyways, as I was saying.
Yes.
we have Joanne, who in the same, a little bit more glamorous, but also brings the freak to the space.
Yeah, what a freak.
And then you have Emily, who I don't think gets enough credit for making space. And I think they create moments for people. They're incredibly good at spotting talent, spotting very specific talent that doesn't get recognized.
They'd be an amazing casting director.
Platforming them in a perfect way. So with those three people, it's been wonderful to see you flourish.
Thank you.
We're at the end of the show, shockingly. That was I think genuinely that was the fastest episode I've ever done.
That's crazy.
Let's take a moment to talk about the future for you. Anything exciting you have going on? Where can people find you? All the plugs, all the pluggables.
Yeah, you can find me. This is the first thing that comes to mind.
So if you can't find me, look to the western sky.
That's so true. So
Amen.
true. That's a great singing voice.
Thank you. I'm warming that up.
You can find me on Belfield FM if you're a UCD student and you want to tune in next Wednesday at 2 p.m. I'm with the editors of the University Observer talking about the referendum that we are voting on next, or the general election that we're voting on next Friday. You can find me in the University Observer. I am their agony aunt, Sasha Shame, at the back of the magazine.
Good for you.
I love being the agony aunt. It's
you're
so
perfect for
funny. I really am. I love making fun of people's problems. I am performing in the Dramsock Panto in UCD next week. I'm performing in King Lear in January. I am putting on a show in February. Auditions will have closed by the time this comes out. They actually close tomorrow. But come see us on the sometime in February. Dates will be released. I don't know if I can say.
Big things coming.
Big things coming. I am performing in a Christmas show on the 21st. I am doing a charity bingo on the 4th of December, which the two of you come along. I think this is coming out after that. But hopefully people will have seen it and come by. And if you did see it, I don't know, text me to let me know that you heard this episode and also came to the bingo and thought it was good. I'm generally around. I'm taking a little sort of not step back, but I'm being less intense about my drag, and I'm trying to focus more on theatre at the moment, just because I think I like writing and directing a lot, and I like acting a lot, and I want to get more into that field. And then pull my drag in with me. Drag Sasha clawing and screaming in the door behind me.
Bless her. You can also find her on Sasha Shame on Instagram.
Yes, sasha.shame.official. That's where you can see everything I'm doing. I forgot to plug the only account I post on.
This has been an absolute pleasure, and we'll keep the good vibes rolling over for the next little while on bonus content on Patreon.
Yay!
Thank you. Oh, I should probably tell thank you to Tim. Thank you to Emily, my Patreon subscribers. I love you. Good. Yeah. This has been Christina.
This has been Connie or Sasha.
Good night, San Diego.
Good night.